Houston, Baltimore. Baltimore is a 9-point favorite at Bet365. This line has steamed down a little bit, opened at 10. Now it's at 9. Look, CJ Stroud continues to defy all of the expectations, the things you don't want to do. Bet on a first-year quarterback. I think we can agree this guy stopped being a first-year quarterback about midway through the season. He is just that special. First take, first instinct on this game.
Yeah, I think I talked about it with the crowd at the show. It's like, if this is above 7, we kind of are tied. Our hands are tied. We have to take Houston. It's just too big of a number. And, we know Lamar struggled as a big favorite, Chad. So, the fact that we already liked it, and then we have the trends to back it up. Lamar, since the last 3 years, he's 1-8 as a favorite, 7 or more. That's a big deal, right? We talk all the time. Like, we like to fade him. The lone win was a bet me and you made. We took Houston week 1. And you look back now, it kind of makes sense, right? It's him making his first start, CJ, and it's also the coach making his first start. It's a big deal. Now they're like Grizzly vets. They've already been through it. They've already got their playoff win. So we know the struggles for Lamar in the playoffs. We know this number's too big. Let's not overthink it. We got to just take the Houston plus 9. I mean, it was 10, and now it's down to 9.5, down to 9 at a couple books, and now some books are showing 8.5. So if you're wondering what the pros are betting, the pros are taking this, and the public will be all over the Ravens. Like, they're going to parlay this. They'll tease it. We're going to talk another game. Like, it's just a week where the favorites do usually win. They usually do cover. So me and Chad aren't going to blindly bet all these dogs. But instantly, this is probably our favorite dog of the week.
Yeah, the number is too big. Some more stats. Lamar, as a favorite of 3.5 or more in his career, 42% against the spread. That's a sample size of north of 50 games, so it's not insignificant. 174th out of 181 quarterbacks the past 20 years in terms of against the spread record as a favorite of 3.5 or more. It gets worse. 7.5 or more. 42% against the spread. 1-8 over the past 3 seasons. That is the worst mark of 32 QBs that we have in our database. His only cover, like you said, was week 1. Here's my one concern. So CJ was amazing at home, right? 2,500 passing yards at home, 17 touchdowns at home, 65% completion rate at home, I think 9 yards per attempt at home. On the road, 62% of his passes completed. 1,600 of his 4,000 yards. 6 touchdowns. So he is not the same quarterback on the road. It could be a combination of a couple different things. One, different surfaces. Bobby Slovic is playing a different game with CJ Stroud on the road than he is at home. So I do think there is something that makes me a little bit more nervous about betting him on the road as a big dog than when we were so confident betting him at home as a dog.
Yeah, and just going through his schedule while you're talking about this and looking at his road record. So you already talked about it. Their week 1 loss to the Ravens, right? You only put up 9 points. The Ravens scored 25. That's a bad loss. If you scroll through all the other games, though, every other loss on the road is really close until you get to the Jets game where they lost 6-30, which I don't even know if he even played in that one. I think he was banged up. But it's just, I get where you're coming from there. The splits are different with him on the road. It's just, I just have so much faith in CJ right now, which is probably might be getting me in trouble here. But it's honestly the Lamar factor as well, though. Lamar in these big moments, he gets tight. And we just saw a guy, Dak, which me and you didn't want to back him because we kept talking about his, even though it was a small sample, we've seen time and time again how mental football is. And some guys got it, which, I mean, say what you want about how Houston won that game against the Browns. CJ missed a couple of deep balls. Nothing changed, right? In that first quarter, he missed one deep throw, right? I think it might have been Nico Collins. It was going to be like a walk-in touchdown. Next play, they went right back downfield. It's like, there's just so much veteran and just savviness to CJ right now where it's like, I'm trying not to treat him as a rookie, like going on the road to Baltimore. Anyone else, I'm right there with you. Under 10, anyone else, I would honestly take the Ravens here. But the fact that Lamar struggled as a big favorite, they're coming off rest against just a team that keeps games close. Like, again, going through this, he's never really been blown out. Like he keeps games close. He's just that competitive. So I don't see how we don't take them and the money line here. Like it's just the value is going to be there. So like for my favorite dog of the week, it's just Houston. I knew this number was going to be 7 or above. I did not think it was going to be 9.5, 10, which it was. The pros have hit that, Chad, and now it keeps dropping. So I'm not making this Simon Says because we've already missed the 10.
Yeah.
But I do think this is going to end up being, either our big ball is better or whatever. Just once the dust settles, I do think money will start coming on the Ravens. But right now, looking at our app, it's all Houston money right now.
Isn't it interesting how you mentioned the mental components of it? And look, the stats bear this out. Lamar is not a guy who, when he has a chance to dominate against the team where he's a huge favorite, where he is doing that. Yet, I don't think of Lamar and John Harbaugh as two guys who get tight or make bad mental decisions or can't handle the challenges of a big-time game or playing way above an inferior opponent. That's all I think about for Dak and Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I just don't see, like,
I
don't see the
perception,
Ravens.
though.
That's what I mean.
Like we talked before he came on, like he's 0-2 at home in the playoffs. He's never won a game at home in the playoffs. And yes, this is lined up for him to get a first win. They should win this game, but there's a lot to that, right? Like that's going to be in the back of his head. That's a real pressure he's going to feel. So this is obviously such a huge game for Lamar in his career. It's set up, right? Like their path is so set up in that they have the 1 seed, they have all the home advantage. Like they're at home throughout the playoffs. But we've seen, I mean, this season, remember that Colts game?
Yeah.
At home, where it's like they're just little things they struggle with. Even that game against Pittsburgh.
Or the game against the Rams.
Right. So there's just times where they're not as untouchable as people perceive. As usually 1 seeds are very untouchable, right? Last year we had the Chiefs and the Eagles, both 1 seeds, made a run.
Yeah.
I feel confident about the 49ers, we'll get to later. I do not feel that same confidence in this Ravens team. And I was hoping for a big number to fade them on. I got my wish. Like, if you were able to grab the 10, you're way ahead of it. I still think 9.5, great value. Even down to 8.5, there's obviously still amazing value there. I just don't see it getting down below 7, do you?
No.
So it's like, obviously we want you guys to grab 8.5, but this is hard for me not to make Simon Says. But I'm trying to make, just wait until Thursday, make our big balls. But I do love this spot so much for Houston.